here in Rolling Fork. Now, as you know, a wave of killer storms hit last night, hit the state of Mississippi. There are other places that are affected, but Rolling Fork seemed to be ground zero for some of the extreme damage. And we know there are 23 people that were dead as of this morning. Now, MEMA wasn't clear at that point about whether they were all here in Rolling Fork or not. But Rolling Fork is a very small town, so you can imagine what that amount of casualty could do to a town like this. There are also still 4 missing, and there are several, there are a couple dozen probably that are also injured. I wanted to show you guys what it is we're looking at here, because when I tell you that Rolling Fork in parts is completely gone, that's what's going on here. This is Rolling Fork. And I'm gonna walk a little way. This may be kind of a longer Facebook Live because I want you guys to see what I'm seeing. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and just walk a little bit. I've covered a lot of tornadoes, probably hundreds. And some of you that know me and have followed me through the years know that sometimes I cry. And this may be one of them, y'all. It's hard to look at this. It's hard to think about what it would feel like to have been here when this came through. Because like for some people, everything is gone. That's a truck right there, upside down. When I say everything is gone, y'all, it's terrible. Like we're in the area that is probably downtown. It's hard to tell what's what now, because it is probably downtown, but that's why we're gonna walk up here. Right up there, you see what you see a lot of times with these kind of storms. You've got some sheet metal wrapped around trees. It's amazing to see sometimes how the winds affect things. And we got a lot of traffic coming through here because people have come from all over the state to show their support and to bring water and to bring responders to help with the search efforts. Across the board, what I've seen as I've driven in has just been phenomenal as far as how many different agencies are out from all over the place. I'm gonna see if I can get to this other side right quick, but if I can't, it's just not gonna be very easy to walk right here with all this debris. Y'all, there are so many down power lines. I can't imagine that anything would work even if there was anything to plug in. Walking here. Again,
in a quarter mile, turn right onto US 61.
I apologize for that. My GPS was still going and was going to be ordering us around. I mean, do you see all this? And there's really not a lot more to say about it. I mean, we have the updates coming, I hope, from the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency and some of that. But again, this is Rolling Fork. You can see the courthouse over there, I believe that's the courthouse. Try and get where we can see it better. Okay, so right about there. You can see the top's been blown off of that. These buildings just gutted. People's whole lives, y'all. Like, I mean, I can't tell you what was here before, but you can look at this devastation. Again, if you're just joining us, we're in Rolling Fork. This was ground zero for, at least in Mississippi, for the storms that hit last night. Those enormous killer storms. I know later on today we should know something about whether they were, what category they were. I don't. I'm not from here. They sent me, I believe it's going to be that way, but I'm kind of lost because I don't know all the landmarks. So I'm sorry. And see, because you have so many people coming in, of course, everybody's looking for the drop-offs and things like that. If you're coming this way with drop-offs, know they'll be appreciated, but I'm not sure exactly yet where to take them. If I see somebody who looks official, we'll try to get a better answer on that. And again, you don't know what this was, but that's somebody's car up there. And that looks like it might have been a chimney. And you know, if you've never seen something like this in person, it doesn't make any sense to you. It's kind of hard to line up what you're looking at because it looks like stuff out of a movie. It looks like a war zone. And that's what it feels like. Up here, we have a gas station. It looked like it was a gas station when I passed it. It may have been an old gas station, but there were people inside trying to, I guess, salvage what they could. And across the board, people just kind of standing in these yards and parking lots, you know, trying to wrap their heads around this and I guess trying to comfort each other too. That looks like part of the wall, although it's not clear where it came from. Somewhere over here, no doubt. Again, if you're just joining us, we are in Rolling Fork, and this is just after these killer tornadoes hit us last night. The state of Mississippi affected in other places as well, but Rolling Fork appears to be the spot that it got hit the hardest. There's the gas station I was telling you about. Yes, it was an active convenience store. And again, you know, this was the downtown area. I mean, it's crazy the things that it leaves, because this was some kind of a structure and the toilet's still standing, but nothing else is. And up here, as we go this way, you'll see more homes. These were, of course, family dwellings, just like any other neighborhood. You can look at the trees and you can see the twisting effect. That's one good way that you can tell that it has been a tornado and not just straight line winds. I don't think there's a question here, but sometimes when you see that twisting effect in the trees, you can tell that that's what the wind was doing, and of course that helps determine a little better what kind of storm you had. Again, this was somebody's home. You can see a little bit of the slab right there. That was somebody's home. All of these. There's not really words for something like this. I'm just narrating because it feels like the news thing to do. It feels like the reporter thing to do, but it seems so silly to talk over this. The best thing, there's not a best thing, there's not a good thing about this, but it did come while people were still awake, so this didn't happen in the middle of the night. But again, across the state at least, and maybe here, I'm still not clear on that, 23 fatalities from these storms. Y'all have a good one. And you know, when you talk about mass casualties from storms, there's been more, but this is devastating. In a community this small, to have this kind of damage, I don't know how it bounces back. But the other thing is too, as these days go forward, we'll hear stories of heroism and we'll hear miracle stories. And I'm sorry, I know I told y'all I was probably going to cry. I'm still trying not to. But what I find about situations like this is that even at their worst, as the days go on, we hear about people that did very heroic things. And we hear about times that God stepped in. And I don't think I have any other words besides that for that part. And it's kind of crazy because you walk past these people that lived here, that are getting their stuff out of their houses, what's left of their stuff and what's left of their house. And it's like how are they functioning? Now, that said, I mean, there's a difference between the ones that lost family members and the ones that lost their things. But, you know, again, the only word for this is devastating. But I can say that I have seen responders, like I said, from all over the state. At one point, I passed some Madison police officers. Rankin County's Langford Volunteer Fire Department was here. As a matter of fact, that's my department. So when I flip the camera around and I'm wearing that shirt, I came up here to meet them this morning. At this point, it's almost impossible to know what to do for some of these responders. You hand out water, you help look. There's an excavator on a trailer. You know, obviously the things that are needed the most, where the people are missing, are ways to try to find them and get them out if they're still with us. Last night, as I was listening to the scanner for Monroe County, in the Amory area, there were people trapped all over the place there. Responders trying to figure out how to get them out, how to get across the roads. That's always a big concern during incidents like this, is what roads can we use? How do we get there? Because the trees fall regardless of if there's a road or not. So, you know, you've got firefighters and medics trying to get places, and cops obviously trying to get places, and still trying to figure out, I don't know what I'm supposed to do to get where I'm going. Now, I'm going to try and cross this bridge and let you see some of the business district, if we can. Thank you. And y'all, the homes, like as you come in, it's like everything's fine until all of a sudden it's not. You can see where the tornado dumped a lot of things down here. All these wires are supposed to be disconnected, and I hope they are. I'd rather not be walking right there, but again, here you are looking across this, well, it's not really I'm sure it's a creek or something, but it's hard to tell. And here is part of downtown. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm Therese Apel with Dark Horse Press, and we are in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, where killer storms came in last night and statewide have killed at least 23 people. Because I'm on this phone, I can't really go check and see if there's any update past that at this point. But this is what the town looks like now. This is the downtown area. It was a very small town to begin with, but now it's, you know, how do you, in a small town like this, get past potentially 23 losses, maybe more? There are still 4 people missing. A lot of injuries. And this kind of wreckage Right now we're on Locust Street, or we're approaching Locust Street, apparently. If you're familiar with the area, you may know where we are. There, that is the courthouse. Unless I'm wrong, but I think that's the courthouse. It looks like one. I've been here a couple times to cover other stories, but they're always, crime stories and that kind of thing. So they were centralized in a location that would have been a crime scene. They have a little grocery store or something. Again, a lot of these things you can't even tell what they were because everything's gone now. Here's the Rolling Fork Police Department up here. We'll walk by and see what that is. But y'all, these kind of trees right here, that's the kind of tree that's been there probably 100, if not 200 years. There's the library. Now it looks like the wind did get in there, obviously broke the windows, but the books, some of them seem to be okay. And the media is starting to show up. We've seen reports about this all over the country at this point, which makes sense because this is a devastating storm. And I keep using that word, y'all. I wish I had a better word for it. Just horrible. So up here you've got the police department. That's what we're looking at right here. Looks like they took on some damage. Definitely lost probably what was a front window, but again, I don't know. You can't just look at things and tell what they were after something like this. Right there you can see more damage to the courthouse up there. I posted a Facebook post today, and everybody knows that I'm a first responder, and the first responders are dear to my heart because of situations like this. You got people that come from all over the place by choice on a Saturday that's not their work day to help people. And when I tell you that something like this, it really gets in your heart. Now, most of the first responders are probably pretty tough. They probably don't show a lot of emotion. So they power through, and you think they're fine. And, some of them are. I'm not saying that there's people that can't do this, but, it's hard to look at this as a protector because this is something you can't protect against. All you can think is that any day that could be your house, that could be your family. So when you're here and you're, comforting these people, it also gives you a very distinct sense of your own morality. Mortality. Not using the right words because I'm kind of in shock here. But just know that the people that are on the ground here to help, it's because they have a different kind of heart. Because there's a lot of folks that aren't out here to help. And that, granted, some would if they could, they just don't know how. But there are some people who have been to this kind of thing 100 dozen times and keep coming back. And like Mr. Rogers said, always look for the helpers. There's some people inside the Chapel of the Cross. I guess that's going to be headquarters up there at the courthouse. So for those of you who joined us late, I'm Therese Apel with Dark Horse Press, and we're here in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. This is where the first round of storms hit last night, and you can see the town in essence is gone. I mean, just everything is destroyed and devastated. I've taken some other video that I will be posting later on. I'm standing in front of the police department here that took heavy damage, but it is in good shape compared to most of the places that we've been this morning. If you want to watch the rest of the video, you'll see more of what went on. We have some video in here of houses, of businesses, some of the folks that are just out here walking around, because what do you do? I mean, how do you make it make sense? So right now, that's what we see on the ground. I'm going to try and find some officials that can give us an update as far as numbers, as far as, you know, what the current casualty count is, that kind of thing. But I do want to say again that in my time covering crime and disaster, you know, we're talking about, I don't know, a couple decades now. I haven't seen anything like this. Now, I wasn't in Smithville, and I heard that one was really bad. And I would say that this one, at least in my experience, may rival it. Again, you know, 23 dead that we know of from these storms. The count has probably gone up since, because that was the early count this morning. There are going to be crews on the ground all over the state trying to map the level of these tornadoes. Were they category, or not category, but were they EF1, were they EF4, you know, that kind of thing. And we'll know more about these things as the days go on, because when something like this comes in as fast as it does, it's hard to really get a handle on what kind of damage we're talking about, and what the ramifications are going to be. I don't know that Rolling Fork has the economy that it's going to take to rebuild, but I know that they will, because we're Mississippi. So again, I'm going to stop before I cry. But guys, this is what we're looking at here in Rolling Fork, and like I said, I know they'll rebuild because we're Mississippi, but right now it's a terrible sight. So when you say your prayers tonight, think about the people in Rolling Fork, think about the people all over the state, because like I said, I was listening to the scanner in Monroe County. They were taking some heavy damage, and they had some people that were entrapped. I only listened for a little bit, but it was pretty constant that they were calling for people to get people who were entrapped out of businesses, even out of a storm shelter, out of homes, that kind of thing. So again, just pray for these people, but also look for where you can help, because that's what makes Mississippi such a great state, is that we do roll up our sleeves and we do get in there to help. So as you go about your day, it's a beautiful day, but remember that, you know, there are ways that you can help people that just lost everything they have, and some of them that just lost their loved ones. So again, let's turn the camera around, let you get one last look at Rolling Fork. And we're in the downtown area right here.